can imagine some 300, 400 years ago, this was a big structure, big village here. So these ones here, the slaves were tied here like this, all along here like this, waiting for the slave master to come with a ship from England. They come here, get the slaves that were chained down to the sea.
That was very powerful, to know that, our ancestors were taken in the way that they were, and they suffered what they suffered, and that we now have a chance to come back and reclaim that, and that we have a chance to share what we know and make this a better place, to make it a stronger place, because we can reconnect and we're one, rather than some over there and some over there, that we're one people. Once we know that we're one people, we can do anything.
It's truly like coming home. It's truly like accessing the ashe of the ancestors and all the guardians that are present and vibe with us each and every day. And because we're in this space, it becomes even more profound, deep, and it grasps you to your spirit, to your soul. And sometimes it manifests itself in the way it does. And sometimes through our children who are going to continue this work and continue accessing the energy of the ancestors in the best way, in the highest way. So it was a wonderful, beautiful experience.
This began as a research for the first African Reconnection program that was sponsored by a Cameroonian group. I was the researcher for the group. Asked about slave trade sites in Cameroon, they said that they didn't know of any with the assistance of 7 undergraduate students at Arizona State University who worked diligently with me day and night from the announcement of the program in September to December 26, when the trip began. We were able to locate 135 slave ships that left the Cameroon territory. That is not the total, but that is what we had come up with at the time from the documents there. Just before we left the U.S., we located 2 other of the slave ships, the 137 so far. We've got the national origin. The English were the main slave traders that we've been able to identify so far, but the Portuguese and the Spanish and others, including the U.S., was involved as well. These are government documents, but there are also other private documents that exist, and there are also archives in other countries and other languages. So I'm staying on until August to continue the work. And the students, one is here, my daughter, Ndoumbe, and we continue to work on this. So far, what we've been able to locate, most of the slave ships left from Vuri in Douala as the river, the bridge that we cross all of the time from Bonaberi. So far, we know that 13 of what we have located and identified left from Bimbia, left from this place. The walk for us is very tough, but if you can imagine, people walked from the deep interior of this country. People were dragged from the deep interior of this country and were in these slave forts. Some of the documents tell us that in some places there was never less than 10,000 enslaved Africans at a time.
When you step on these tracks where our ancestors traded to be loaded up in ships, do not fear even to cry or to scream.
Thank you.
You have a shoulder to lean on. You have shoulders to lean on. You don't have to worry about that. Because once you get through that process, the feeling becomes different.
Yes.
Something happens in your psyche which takes away the void and this emptiness that everybody feels about not knowing exactly where they come from. What I'm saying is, I will work very hard to see that the government of this country or the departments involved take care of this site and take care of the research that you people have done, so that we can make it, we can move forward and take it to a level where other people will have the opportunity to recognize that it is not possible, or that it is not good to be ashamed of their roots.
I grew up and went to school in this country with several of you people. We were never told anything about Bimbia.
No, we will never.
We could learn about the empire of Songhai in Ghana. And most of those. Right here, these are the youth. Beaming. we did not know anything about India. When I came here, I broke down several times. And then I went and looked at Africa south of the Sahara and looked at who wrote it. And then I saw how it is machinated so that the culprits are hidden in the back of history.
These bricks were manufactured in England. It was a technology that was used in England in the 11th, 12th, and 13th centuries, manufacturing bricks. So they manufactured these bricks and brought them here to build this slave village. And even the cement that was used was brought all the way from England. Portland cement. So they had, like I told you, there's a little stream that is running down here. So they use the water and the sand and the stones that you can see. So we had a lot of added natural material here that they could use to build the slave village.
This was not a slave trade as such. This was a capture of people who had free status as Africans, who were transformed into slaves for Europeans' pillage and profit. There are no words that adequately capture the longing that we've had for generations to finally be able to make a pilgrimage to come back home. We are in a bit of a consistent search for who we are, longing to reconnect with our roots. It's not a tourist trip, it's a pilgrimage for us with deep, deep, deep spiritual connections. We don't only represent ourselves, but we represent the generations before us that did not have the opportunity, the possibility to come back.
I really have a deep-seated outrage. However, I wanted to explore some other thoughts and concerns that I had, and that's why I'm here. I've tried to get to Cameroon some years before, but it just didn't work out until this time. So I realized that I'm here at the appointed time to gather with the appointed people and to be in this particular space, because I probably would not have gotten here had I come early. I will also say that I started my family tree research just to give a legacy to my children. I later find out that I have the DNA of the gene pool of Tikar, and I said, well, I need to get there and see what that's about. And then I met some people from Cameroon at an event organized by Lisa, and they said, oh, that's not enough. You have to go find your village. Just being Tikar might mean a lot of things. So then I said, well, okay, I'll go look for my village. But I had no idea how to find my village. But I realized today when this, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Fombu. Okay, here's what I got out of the conversation. He was the fawn of Fobu. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Fobu meaning the returning slaves. Is that correct? So I do have a village. And I thank you for that.
My new name is Ngwanso. Okay? So based on that, I'm the warrior queen, right?
Yeah.
So I've got to take issue. I've been hearing the word slave. Well, I work in the reparations movement, and we reject the word slave and instead use the word enslaved. So our ancestors were not slaves, but they were enslaved, because slave implies agreement or participation in, and they did not participate in it in a voluntary fashion, in which the word means. And we're not returning slaves, but returning enslaved descendants. Okay, the other thing that I want to say to you is that no one is ever forgotten as an ancestor unless you stop calling their names. And so we're here now, and we're remembering them. Even though we don't have the names, we can say the unknowns. And so they are not forgotten. We're here, and I'm happy to be here. And like I said, I know, just knowing me and just talking with my new brother from the Bonzo area, and what he's been telling me about my namesake, I know that I'm not a descendant of a slave, but an enslaved person, because as I understand it, my namesake took a lot of heads.
The thing that keeps popping in mind is my grandma and my great-grandmother and the stories they used to tell me, and it hurts so much. It hurts so much, and I know they're here with me now, and this was bad, but this was bad, but the stories they told me about after they got to America were just horrible and horrific. And they used to tell me these things, and I could never understand why people could be so evil and so mean. But my grandmother used to always tell me, hate is not what you need right now, and you don't hate people. You have to forgive them. You have to forgive them so that you can move on. If you hold that inside, it will destroy you.
I don't know my DNA connection, though I've actually felt quite connected here, especially the food. But you all have been very welcoming, and I appreciate that. I don't have a whole lot to say about the area. It's hard for me to get emotional. When I do, I get really, really emotional. But the overriding thought that I keep having is that it's really amazing how a place that's so beautiful can be so painful. And that's it.
Sometimes I'm a person of few words. Like I said prior, putting this in words is limiting because I'm still experiencing it. And I guess I look at the faces around me and I see the word respect. Respect. And I break the word respect down to see again, respect. And I see you all again. I've seen you before. I've always seen you. Thank you.
They were victims of kidnapping. They were victims of, warfare. Yes, captured in war. There were few persons who were really so deliberately by Africans as enslaved persons or slaves, so to say. The fund of Mancon, did a lot internally to control the trade. Yeah. So that it became when under great pressure. Okay, there was what they called the Nkibo or the slave rope in Mancon. Yes. That is, you had before you sold somebody, you must get the permission. You must have that from the fund of Mancon in order to be sure that to control that his people were not involved in careless removal and sale of people here and there. So this reconnection is wonderful education, which is needed on both sides of the Atlantic.
Thank you.